All right. Hello and welcome, everyone. It's so nice to see so many friends joining today. Welcome. We are super excited to welcome you all to our battle program today. Who's excited?
Woohoo!
Woohoo! Awesome. I know all of our presenters today are super excited. I'm so
Yeah.
excited as well. And so I'm going to go ahead and I am going to bring up some cool things to share while everyone's joining. So welcome everyone. It is super great to see you all today. And welcome to our program, the Harbor Seal versus the Sea Otter. Who do you think will win? Who has the mightiest superpower? And of course, who is the cutest? I don't know about that. We'll have to see what our presenters share with us a little bit later on today. And so, well, if you have any questions throughout our program today too, please type in the Q&A and you can ask our presenters anything that you're wondering about, that you're curious about, that you want to know more about these incredible marine mammals. So, all right, well, we'll keep going here. But my question that I want you all to think about today is who has the mightiest superpower? Okay, what do y'all think so far? Do you think it is the harbor seal or the sea otter? Imagining that we just know a little bit about these creatures because we're going to be super duper experts by the end of today. So I want you to be thinking of that question, and we're going to have a poll for you all to answer a little bit later on about this. And so, as of course, right, we do have our good friends, the otter versus the harbor seal. I don't know. They're both pretty cute. I know, but they are wildlife, so we've got to respect wildlife. We'll learn a little bit about that later on as well. And so, but of course, who is the cutest? Gotta think about this question today too, my friends. So many great questions, but I'm gonna bring up a good picture. Isn't this utterly adorable? I know, I think they are. Look at it, they're just like laying there on their backs. I mean, they eat so much food every day. They look so soft, right? All right. Love this here. Good friend, the Southern Sea Otter. Um, oh, but look at this. I think this one has the seal of approval. I don't know about you, but I think this has the seal of approval for today. We'll find out. But today we are going to battle between two incredible California state parks. We have our harbor seal, so if you can find the harbor seal on the map there, that is where our good friends who will meet in just a moment that are at Carpinteria State Beach. That is where they are. But if you look up a little bit north to the coast, so we'll leave the harbor seals, you'll see this otter here, and this is the southern range of those sea otters along California's coast, along the Gaviota coast there, and that is where Jennifer will be later on. We're kind of right by Point Conception here. We're both in the Santa Barbara area. We have the incredible Channel Islands that and the Santa Barbara Channel that connects all of us in our area and really connects all of us throughout our world because our waterways and oceans, they connect all of us. That's what makes them super duper important. So, um, with that though, are you all ready to meet our naturalist for today? Are you all ready? I hope you all are. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing my screen here, but let's go ahead and say hi to Christina because I see Christina first. Hey, Christina.
Hi, everyone. My name's Christina, and I'm here at Carpinteria State Beach.
Awesome. You want to go ahead and pass it to the next person?
Yeah, let's pass it to Danica. She's my coworker at Carpinteria State Beach.
Hi, everybody. My name is Danica, and I'm also here at another part of Carpinteria State Beach.
All right, and we'll send it up the coast now a little bit. Looks beautiful at Carpinteria today, by the way. So cool. Find out a
Yes.
little bit more about Carp in just a moment. But hey, Jen, where are you at?
Hi, everybody. Good morning. My name is Jennifer, and I am up here at Refugio State Beach along the Gaviota coast.
Awesome. Super great to have you, Jen. Nice to have you here today. So, all right. Well, let's go ahead and we will share some more here about our area. So we do have our incredible coastline here, as we mentioned. So many great habitats and ecosystems, like from our incredible kelp forests, that's makes our region pretty special, pretty unique, because our kelp really just absorbs carbon dioxide from our ocean, but it also helps produce the oxygen that we breathe. And both of our parks really have these incredible ecosystems here. But in addition to that, we have like our sand dunes too, which create a great buffer between the ocean and land. And I know Christina and Danica will share a little bit about those cool sand dunes that they have at Carpinteria State Beach as well. But here's a good picture of them here. And then we also have our good friends here. This is our shorebird. And those shorebirds are going through our beach rat community along our coast. So lots of invertebrates, lots of ecosystems there, with a lot of different nutrients that are released out into our oceans from there. So, all right, pretty cool there. And I think I got one more ecosystem here, and that is our surfgrass community. So this is a good picture here of our surfgrass and all that is along our coast. So surfgrass is a great habitat here for a lot of different creatures. So especially juvenile fish, they absolutely love it. So, all right. I was thinking though, with our presenters here, should we go ahead and do some trivia? What do y'all say? Because I was thinking
Let's do
that
it.
let's do it. All right, so we'll go ahead and share our trivia here. So here is our amazing trivia for today. And so in terms of our trivia, um, how it's going to work is all of you at home, I want you all to play along with our presenters and see if you all can figure out the answer to our biodiversity, because this is Biodiversity Week. Yeah, we're going to talk about harbor seals and sea otters today, but biodiversity is why we are here. So, okay. So, okay, are you all ready? Yes.
Ready.
All
Ready.
right.
Ready.
So question one. Blank percent of all plant and invertebrate species occur in the United States occur in California. So what do y'all say? Do you think it is 30%, 50%, or 10%?
It's a tough one. I know we have a lot. I'm gonna go with 30.
Ooh, okay, I hear 30, which is awesome. Any
What
other
about
ideas?
50?
Ooh, okay, 50. All right,
Okay,
Tanika,
then
what do you say?
I'll go with 10 then.
10, all right, all right. So what if I told you all, and I think our friends at home are agreeing with some of you, that it is 30%. Mm-hmm.
Woo,
Ooh,
that's a
crazy,
lot.
huh? Quite a big number. So animals with a vertebrate, that would be someone that has a backbone, just like us people. Both our otters and our harbor seals, they are both vertebrates, of course, but just like those plant communities too, like those surfgrass that we saw the picture of, really important there for us. All right, question two. How many species of plants that are endemic? And by endemic, I mean they are from California. So they weren't brought here from another place. They naturally exist in our amazing state. What do y'all say? 2,000, 10,000, or 1,500?
I'm going to go with 2,000.
Ooh, okay, 2,000. Any other ideas?
I think I'll do 1,500.
1,500, all right.
I'm going to say 1,500 too, Parker.
All right. Well, you know
Yeah.
what, my friends? It is over 2,000 different species, which is pretty crazy.
Oh
So
my gosh.
2,000 species. I know, crazy, right? So whether it's just plants on land or even plants in the ocean, as I mentioned, like our surfgrass community, right? That's a true plant there. All right. How many different species of native bees are in California? Are there 5,000 species? 1,600 species, or 1,000 species? What do y'all say?
1,600, Parker.
Ooh, okay. Any other ideas?
I'm going to go with 1,600 too.
Oh, okay. I like it.
And me too. I'm gonna go 1,600. I'm feeling good.
All right. Well, you all got it. It is 1,600 different species of native bees.
Yay!
Those amazing pollinators, and there's so many more great species of pollinators too, so that live in our coasts. Yes, nice work, everyone. I saw a lot of our friends typing in that as well. 1,600. And so, okay, I do have a bonus question for you all. And our bonus question is, why do we have California state parks?
Oh, good question. Well, so that we can help protect all the plants and animals that live in California.
Nice, I love it. Anything else?
So people can come out and learn about the plants and animals and enjoy nature.
Perfect. I love that.
And how about Parker so that people can recreate, like
Oh,
sunbathe on the beach, go surfing,
yes. You know what? I love all
paddleboarding?
of those things that you all are mentioning. Those are all reasons why we have California state parks. And so I think we all get bonus points here for that. And I think too, I want to remind everyone that these parks, these places belong to everyone in California. They are your place, they're our place, they belong to everyone. So we have the job to really protect, to learn, to study about these habitats and these ecosystems and the creatures who live in these incredible places because they are just so special to all of us. And so, but we are the stewards, we are the caretakers of our environment because remember, my friends, this is your place. So we all have the responsibility to learn about these places and what we can do to make a difference. So all right. Well, I think we've done enough overview and hope you enjoyed our game here today. And as always, my friends, if you have any questions throughout today, you can go ahead and type it into the Q&A. What we're going to do is we're going to start with our good friends in Carpinteria who are going to highlight our first battle creature. And remember, who is the cutest, right? And who has the greatest superpower? Those are the key questions I want you to be focusing on today. So we'll send it over to Christina and Danica.
Hi, everyone. My name's Christina. I'm here at Carpinteria State Beach. Before we get started talking about our harbor seals, I just want to talk to you a little bit about what you'll find at Carpinteria State Beach. So behind me, you can see an estuary, and you can also see the ocean back there. But we also have we have some other ecosystems that are found here as well. So I'm going to pull up a couple pictures to show you what those ecosystems are. And so we also have tide pools. So we have a spectacular area when the tide is low that you can go check out our tide pool animals. Our estuary, which I mentioned, is right behind me. This is what it looks like on a different day. We have sand dunes. We have lots of different animals that depend on those sand dunes, like our snowy plovers. And then, of course, we have the ocean, our sandy beach as well. So we're going to talk about our harbor seals today. But before that, Danica is going to share one last thing about our park.
Hi, everybody. So I really encourage you to visit your state parks. But when you do, just remember that the plants and animals that live here call it home and it's their space. So just like when you're going over to a friend's house, you want to be respectful, you want to clean up after yourself and really take care of the environment when you come here. So with that, let's start talking about harbor seals. Now, harbor seals, I've got a couple photos here and let me share them. Harbor seals are pretty big boys. They are about 285 pounds and about 6 feet long. So they are not small. And they live about 30 to 25 years. And they have two different kinds of fur patterns. They're either dark with white spots, or they're kind of brown or silvery with dark spots. And they also are a little different than, oh, sorry. They're a little different than our sea lions, and that their pelvic bones are fused together. So they kind of are a little awkward when they're moving on land. They kind of move like a caterpillar. And they also have ear holes instead of ear flaps and a little V nose shaped nose that they can close when they're underwater. And they have claws that are about 2 inches thick, 2 inches long, and they can reach up to speeds of 12 miles per hour when swimming. When they're diving for food, they can dive down about 1,600 feet and stay under for about 30 minutes. And when they're hunting, they like to eat fish like flounder, herring, codfish. They also eat mollusks and crustaceans. And I'm going to hand it over to Christina now. And she's going to talk about their habitat and
All right, you guys. So harbor seals are found all around the world. I'm going to go ahead and pull up where exactly you can find them, and then also specifically the habitats that you'll find them in. So in a moment, you're going to see a map, and then you're going to see some different areas that you can find them. So let's go ahead and look. So here is a map of the world, and that area that you see in orange, my friends, that is where you'll find harbor seals. That orange arrow, that's pointing to us here in southern central California. So you could see that they're found in the northern hemisphere versus the southern hemisphere. And then specifically, you can find them on mud flats. This is actually a picture of them off the coast of China. Ice floats. I was very lucky to travel to Alaska this summer, and I got to see some harbor seals on ice floats. Yeah, on rocks. You'll find them here at Carpinteria State Beach or close to Carpinteria State Beach. They love to haul out on rocks. And yeah, so, and then you'll also find them on sandy beaches. So you also just find them lying on the sand. So another thing that I wanted to mention too is a lot of people ask, do harbor seals migrate? Like, do they move long distances like a lot of other marine mammals do? So harbor seals don't typically migrate. They tend to stay close to where they were born. But scientists have tagged some that have traveled up to 436 miles away from their birthing site. All right, Tanika, take it away.
Okay, so in addition to haul out, we have rookeries, and we have one here just down the coast of Carpinteria State Beach. And rookeries are super important because that's where pregnant moms gather in groups to have their babies. And I have a couple pictures of our rookery here that I'll bring up. So it's very important for them to have a safe place away from predators, to have their babies, nurse their young. And harbor seals are site faithful. So usually they'll return to the place where they were born to have their babies, which are called pups. And they have their babies anywhere from January to May. And California has some of the largest pupping areas. So they also, let's talk a little bit about their babies. They're pregnant for about 10 months, and they have about 1 pup per year. And the pup is born about 25 pounds already. And when it's born, let me show you. It is born with this thick white fur called lanugo. And this fur is very important because they don't have a lot of blubber when they're born. So this fur helps keep them warm and absorbs light. And when a baby pup is born, it can swim at birth. And in about 2 to 3 days, it can die for about 2 minutes. Now, this is important to remember that the moms can leave the babies for up to 2 days. So they are okay, they will be fine. And the mom has this very, very thick milk that's 50% fat. So in about 4 to 6 weeks, that baby pup will double its weight and be independent.
Yeah. I don't see your picture. picture.
Oh,
So we're
no.
going to pull up your pictures there.
Okay. Oh, there's the seal with the baby. And see, now you can see the fur and see how it's thick, and it's going to keep that baby really warm, and that white is going to absorb the light, so it'll stay nice and warm. And now I'll hand it over to Christina to start sharing about the adaptations.
Yeah, so actually, I'm going to talk really quick about what a haul out is. So Danica talked about a rookery. A rookery is where the moms had their babies, where they nurse their babies. A haul out is where you'll find all kinds of seals. Sometimes the moms will be having their babies in the haul out, but in the haul out, they specifically do certain things. All right, so let's take a look at what they do when they're hauling out. So let me share with you a photo of a haul out. Let's take a look at that. You're going to see it here in just a moment. I'm going to pull up a bunch so that y'all can see them. There they are. Okay, so here are some harbor seals hauling out. Hauling out, what do they look like they're doing to you? What is that? Oh, I can see one that looks like it's stretching. I don't know, they look like they're sleeping to me, right? Yeah, well, they do rest when they're hauling out. But one of the big things that they do, my friends, when they're doing this is they're regulating their internal temperature. It's called thermoregulation. So when you see them hauling out, it's really important not to disturb them because they're trying to get their body temperature right, just right. That means that they were out in the ocean, they were swimming, they got super duper cold, and now they need to go to the beach to get to sunbathe, to warm up. So sometimes when they're warming up, you'll see them do this banana pose. Yeah, and the reason why they're doing this is because they don't want their body heat to escape. And where is their body heat going to escape? It's going to escape from those flippers in the back there. So they'll pull those flippers up, and then it looks like they're doing a banana pose. Yeah, so another reason why they haul out, my friends, is to get away from predators. So if they know there's a predator nearby, like orcas, they are going to haul out. They're going to get onto shore to stay safe. Another reason why they haul out is when they're molting. Wow, he looks like he's sick, but he's not sick. He's actually just shedding his hair. And this happens in the mid to late summer. They just shed their hair and then they grow new hair. And when their new hair grows in, it grows in nice and thick and smooth. And then here's a fun fact, my friends. When seals cannot haul out on the shore, on rocks, on ice floats, on the sandy dune or on the sandy beach, they want to take a nap, they'll just simply float in the ocean and take a nap in the ocean, just stick their head out of the water and just nap. Or they actually might nap underwater. And they can nap underwater just as long as they remember to go up and take a breath, because remember, they're mammals like us. They can nap underwater for a long time. They can hold their breath for about 30 minutes, but I imagine that they're probably waking up during that time to make sure that they don't accidentally wake up in the ocean and suffocate themselves. They don't want that to happen. But yes, they will fall asleep under the water. And now I'm going to hand it over to Danica, and she's going to share some other fun facts about harbor seals.
Okay, so one of my favorite facts about harbor seals is how they hunt. Now, harbor seals don't really rely on their hearing or their eyesight. They have those big, beautiful eyes, but that's not what they rely on to hunt. And I'm going to show you a couple photos. See? All right. Now, the water can get pretty murky down there. There's storms, waves are crashing, and they also like to hunt in kelp beds. So they actually use their whiskers to hunt. See those beautiful whiskers? Now, if you've know a cat or have had a cat, cats have super sensitive nerve endings at the end of their whiskers. They have about 200 nerve endings. Well, a harbor seal, has 1,500 nerve endings at the end of their whiskers. And they pull their whiskers away from their face. And when they're swimming, those whiskers don't jiggle or move. It cuts through the water like butter. However, and you see this cool shape, that's how they kind of are sensitive. When they're swimming through water, those whiskers will vibrate if there's a disturbance in the water by another creature moving through the water. And they'll detect these swirling disturbances called hydrodynamic trails to track the fish and even indicate the size of the fish. And it's so sensitive, they can detect a fish from 100 meters away. So that is pretty cool that they use their whiskers alone to track fish. And they've even done studies where they put headphones and blindfolds on seals, and they can still eat and find their food just fine. I'll pass it over to Christina for another fun fact about them.
All right, another cool fun fact, my friends, about harbor seals is they have this. Well, oops, not that. Let's share a photo, and I'm going to have you look at the harbor seal. And I think I actually wrote the word on there, my friends. Let's see. We'll pull up that picture there. Here it is. They have blubber. Yeah. And you know what I found out, my friends? So harbor seals, it looks like they're just like this blubbery bowl of jelly, but actually that blubber is super thick and stiff. Yeah, believe it or not. That blubber is like a jacket. So on a super cold day, you want to wear a nice warm jacket to trap your body heat inside of your body so it doesn't escape and you don't get cold. Blubber does the same exact thing for harbor seals. Now, blubber is different from fat. Fat is not as thick, and also fat doesn't have as many blood vessels going through it. Blubber is very thick, it's very dense, and it has lots of blood vessels that go through it to help control their body temperature and keep them nice and warm. And another thing I wanted to mention is, yeah, seals have fur, but they don't use their fur to keep warm. They actually will use that fur, my friends, to help them when they're swimming in the water. Their fur actually secretes, it makes like an oil that layers the fur and helps waterproof them. So let me see, do I have a picture of a seal here that with his furry little self? Well, this is a good picture. There we go. I have fur, yeah. So nice and furry there. You can see, and you can see some of the fur looks like it's molting coming off. Yeah. All right, Danica, you want to add another adaptation for us?
Sure thing. So harbor seals have something odd. It's called a nictitating membrane. What is a nictitating membrane? Sounds kind of funny. Well, you know how they have those big, beautiful eyes? When they're on land, those eyes, they have like tears, and the tears, like us, don't go down our nasal passageway. They just come out. So these are third eyelids that come and help wipe away their really thick tears and keep their eyes moist on land. This third eyelid also helps them underwater to protect their eyes because you can see through it. And I've got a couple pictures here. If you have a cat, you maybe have seen this and you know what I'm talking about, this very weird third eyelid. So see how in this picture, let's see, it has this third eyelid and it's vertical shaped. Let's see, hold on, let me add, there we go, I've got it, there it is. So you see this third eyelid, it's horizontal and it goes across the eyeball. Now, these eyelids, they just react reflexively. So if you do a puff of air into their eyes, they're going to do it naturally. And then in this hawk, you can see the first picture, he doesn't have his nictitating eyelid, but the second one, he does. And he can see through that just fine and dandy, which is pretty cool and a little weird. And I'll pass it back to Christina about another adaptation.
Yeah, so another adaptation, my friends, is that harbor seals can hold their breath, like we mentioned, up to 30 minutes when they go on these deep dives in the twilight zone. Actually, they can go deep into the sea where it's kind of dark, and when they are holding, the reason why they can hold their breath for so long is because they have a higher volume of blood. That means they have more blood in their bodies than other mammals about their size. And what's really cool is they have this special protein in their muscles called myoglobin that holds on to the oxygen that's in their blood. So when they're doing these deep dives, they can help conserve oxygen. They can help save oxygen. So I have a really cute picture here that I want to add of a harbor seal on a dive. There he is. And then I also want to show this one right here. This shows a harbor seal doing some more diving here. Pull him up in just a moment. There he is. We'll talk about, yeah, so they're conserving oxygen. They have this protein in their blood, in their muscles that holds on to the oxygen. The other thing that they can do that's really cool is slow down their heartbeats. So typically when their heart is beating, it can beat between 75 to 125 beats per minute. When they are diving, they can slow it down between 4 to 6 beats per minute. So that means it's not pumping as much blood. And that makes it very easy for the harbor seal to hold its breath for a much longer time than most humans can. Right, Danica, do you have another adaptation, or should we go on to their predators?
Let's move on to their predators.
Yeah, so I'm going to show you. So harbor seals do have predators, my friends, and I'll just quickly go through their predators because I know that Gaviota is waiting for us. So we're going to go through their predators right here. And I'm going to pull them up in just a moment. They are, and then I'll also talk about how harbor seals are being harmed too, how they're being endangered in a sense. So this is one of their big predators, sharks, great white sharks, and not just great white sharks, different types of sharks. Another predator I mentioned earlier are the orcas, especially up in Alaska. There's a big population of orcas up there, and there's also a big population of harbor seals. So definitely one of their predators. Stellar sea lions. Stellar sea lions, my friends, are massive. The boys can weigh up to 2,500 pounds versus a harbor seal only weighs over 200 pounds. So these are very big animals, and yes, they do hunt harbor seals. Bald eagles, yeah, eagles, any kind of bird of prey. Bears, especially up in Alaska again, where there's a big grizzly bear population that likes to hang out on the coast. And then also coyotes, believe it or not. Yeah. And then let's not forget, sadly, people are also harmful to harbor seals. And some of the things that we're doing to put them in danger is when we cast out fishing nets and we don't clean up our fishing gear, and sometimes they get entangled. This lucky guy is getting untangled. Also, when people are building on the shore, they lose their habitat when they do this. So they don't have anywhere to live when we're taking over their habitat. Vessel collisions. So when people go boating, yeah, it looks so much fun, but we have to make sure we look out for our marine friends that are swimming out there in the water like harbor seals. And then, of course, pollution. Pollution is another big one that sadly hurts harbor seals because a lot of them mistaken this for food. All right, Danica is going to go over some ways that we can help harbor seals.
Okay, so I just wanted to talk about why harbor seals are so important. So every piece of our environment is super important. Our ecological relationships are very complex. So to remove one part of it would be like putting on a blindfold and going to work on a car's engine and just removing some parts. You have no idea how you're going to affect our environment if you just take away one part, just like the harbor seals. And they can be an indicator of an overall healthy habitat. Because if there's plenty of harbor seals, there must be plenty of fish and squid to eat. They also help regulate population by eating certain fish and not others. It gives room for all the other creatures to grow and thrive. Now, how can we help? Well, the biggest thing is we can give them space. Don't approach a seal. And it is important to keep our coastal spaces and let them have a certain space on the coast. And remember, a seal mom can leave a baby pup for up to 2 days. They will be okay. If you pick up a baby seal or mess with it, the mom may abandon it. So it's really important to just leave them. But if you are worried, I have one photo I can share with you guys. If you're worried that a seal is hurt or any animal all along the West Coast, you can call this phone number and they will come out and help whatever mammal needs helping. So I'll put that up for 1 second. You can write it down. That's a great number to have. And this is a great organization that helps marine mammals all around the world. Okay, thank you. And I will pass it on.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing about those incredible harbor seals. Sounds so cool. I mean, like the banana pose. Who doesn't like the banana pose, right? And their awesome nap times, right? That sounds good to me. And their whiskers vibrating. I don't know if any of you, if your hair on your head, or your arms or something might like detect things around you. That's kind of cool. So, and waterproofing, who knew? That's so neat. But overall, what do you each say that their greatest superpower is? What do you say? What do you think, Christina? What is their greatest superpower?
Oh, what is their grade?
Yeah,
I
what do you
don't
think?
know. I would say, gosh, I think the fact that they can hold their breath for so long is pretty
Yes.
amazing, and that they can take naps underwater. That blew me
Oh,
away. Yeah.
yes, that is incredible. Okay, Danica, what do you think?
Oh, I'll have to say their whiskers. I'm just
Oh,
blown away
yes.
that they use their whiskers to hunt and that they
Yes.
can track a fish from 100 meters away by their whiskers alone. I think it's
Yes, I
pretty cool.
know. That is incredible. And I saw some of our other friends agreed with those, and even their ability, not just to be in the ocean, because they do kind of look like just an only water creature, but also the ability to get out of the water too, right? Onto land. That is just so cool. So, all right. And I think that was our questions there. So what we'll do is we'll just go ahead and we will move on to Jennifer, and who's going to share with us a
All
little
right.
bit about one of our other cool marine mammals along the coast. So take it away, Jen.
All right. Thank you. Thanks, Danica and Christina. That was a lot of good information. I'm going to have to do some research on that whisker technology that the harbor seals have, because sea otters have really amazing long whiskers too. So I'm wondering if they have the same ability. I'm going to have to find out. All right, so let's take a look at our utterly amazing otters along our coast. And along the coast of California here, we have the southern sea otter, which is a special smaller species of otter. There's also a northern sea otter that lives off of Alaska, Northern California, Alaska, Canada, and even Russia and over into Japan. But they are a much larger species. But today we're going to talk about the southern sea otter. So I wanted to share with you guys a map here of where their habitat is. Let's see here. So here is a map of California, and you can see the red line on there indicates that their population goes from San Mateo County up there by San Jose near San Francisco, and you can find a lot of them in Monterey there in the bay, and all the way down the coast, down where we are near Gaviota State Beach. So Gaviota State Beach is about I'd say like 10 minutes north of where I am right now. So if you go up the coast a little ways, you can often see them in the kelp beds up there. We have a group of about like 12 to 15 of them that have recently come back. So we're really happy about that. There's also some out at San Nicolas Island you can see down there at the bottom. So that is pretty much the range of the southern sea otter, and there are about 3,000 individuals that we have in this area. So unfortunately, in the 1800s, sea otters were overhunted for their really thick, beautiful fur. Their fur was used for clothing items and hats and things like that. And they were almost hunted to extinction. And I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the word extinct, but it just means that there's no more of those animals on the planet. So we definitely don't want that to happen, right? We want to keep the sea otters around. So the governments have put laws in place to help protect the sea otters. So they are endangered. They are in what they call endangered status, but not extinct. So their numbers are trying to come back, and they are doing much better. So we need to do all we can to help our friends, the sea otters, thrive out in the ocean. All right, so you might ask yourself, why are sea otters important? Why do we need to protect these animals? And one of the things that makes them so special and is kind of their superpower is that they are a keystone species. And I don't know, maybe have you guys ever heard of keystone species before? Some of you may have. The term means that they are a key component of that ecosystem and that environment, that if you took them out of that ecosystem, the rest of the ecosystem would fall apart. So out in our kelp forest ecosystem and our estuaries and seagrass habitats where the otters live, they are a keystone species that helps that ecosystem stay healthy and stable. So one of the ways that they do that, I'm going to share a picture here, is that they help keep the sea urchin population under control. And I'll tell you why that's important. So here we've got our lovely southern sea otter, and he's munching on a few spiny sea urchins, purple sea urchins. Now, these sea urchins can be a problem if there's too many of them because they love to eat kelp. And you can see in that bottom corner, that cluster of them on the root of the kelp, the holdfast of the kelp is the roots there. And if they chew off all the strands of kelp, then that kelp dies. And what you end up with is an urchin barren. So you can see on the right there, all the urchins, but there's no more kelp. So the otters really help us keep those urchins under control so you don't have an urchin barren, and they help us keep the kelp forest healthy. And so here is another picture. You can see healthy green kelp that's thriving when you have sea otters. And when you don't have sea otters, you end up with less healthy kelp and lots of sea urchins all over the place. So really important at helping balance our kelp forest ecosystem out there. And like Parker mentioned, the kelp forest is so important because so many animals rely on the kelp forest for food and shelter and nursery habitat, and it provides so much of the oxygen that we breathe. Half of the oxygen that we breathe is from the plants out in the ocean. So it's really important that we protect those kelp forests. All right, another habitat that they are a keystone species in is the seagrass habitat. And this is a little bit lesser known habitat. Some of you may not have heard of a seagrass habitat, but it's basically like grass. It is a flowering plant, and it lives under the ocean and in brackish water in estuaries. And they use the sun for photosynthesis. And it's kind of like a meadow underwater, but small fish, schools of fish and invertebrates, hundreds of species use this seagrass habitat to rear their young and find shelter and food. So it's really important, just as much as the kelp forest. So the sea otter, you see him up there on top there, and he is munching on a crab. So sea otters like to eat all kinds of shellfish, mussels, urchins, and crab. And keeping those crabs under control is important because if we have too many crabs, then they eat all the sea slugs, which you can see down there in the corner, that keep the algae off of the seagrass. And so it's important for these sea slugs to clean that algae off of the seagrass because it's hard for the plant to get sunlight if it's covered in algae. And that algae sucks up a lot of the oxygen out of the water, and it can kind of choke out the habitat if there's too much algae. So these sea slugs are really important. They're kind of like little vacuum cleaners, cleaning the seagrass habitat. And so you don't want too many crabs because then there's not enough sea slugs. So there's that really important relationship between the otter eating the crabs, so there's enough sea slugs to clean the seagrass. So kind of a complex dynamic, but really important to help that habitat thrive. All right, let's see here. So another special thing, another superpower of otters is that they use tools. Did you guys know that they use tools? What kind of tools do you think they use? Maybe think for a second, what tools might they use? And they also have pockets. Did you know they have pockets? And they also have some of the thickest fur of any animal in the whole world. So these are 3 of their little superpowers, and I'm gonna share some pictures here so you can see what those look like. Let's see here, here. Okay, so here is a picture of one of the tools that they use up in the right-hand corner. You can see that they use rocks. So what otters do when they're hunting for shellfish, which is most of what they eat. So he's got a clam in his hand right there. And now clams are pretty hard. The shell is really hard. So they will smash that clam on the rock to get the meat out on the inside. So pretty smart using a tool like that to break open those hard shellfish. And this picture on the left, you can see that they have a little skin pocket under their arm. And this is at an aquarium. So this one is a captive otter. I think it's the Monterey Bay Aquarium, but they work with the otters there, and they've put a little ice cube in his little skin pocket. So you can see how he uses that pocket to hold things so that his paws are free for hunting and holding food. So really important to have that nice little pocket there. Everybody likes pockets, right? And then at the bottom, you can see how thick their fur is. They have about 1 million hairs per square inch on their body. And that hair is so important because that is what keeps them warm. And so like Christina and Danica talked about seals having blubber. Well, otters don't have the same blubber, right? They're kind of thin, but instead of blubber, they use this really super thick fur, and they spend a lot of their day grooming their fur and actually blowing air into their fur to keep it dry next to their skin. So it might look wet on the outside, but next to their skin, that fur is dry and warm and keeps them insulated. So that's what protects them from the cold ocean. So pretty cool superpower that they have that really thick fur. All right, whoops. Let me erase my drawings here. Let's see. Sorry about that. Okay. Oops. All right. So I wanted to share another picture with you that shows the difference between otters and seals and talks about the difference in the blubber. So sea otters are about 70 pounds, between 50 and 70 pounds for the adults. And so they're about the third of the size of a harbor seal. Harbor seals are much bigger, but they eat about the same amount of food each day, which is kind of interesting, about 15 pounds of food a day. But the otter has a much higher metabolism and burns all those calories much faster. So they're eating the same amount of food, but they're much smaller. And that helps them stay warm and helps their metabolism when they're out in the water. So kind of an interesting difference there. All right. And lastly, I wanted to share one last superpower with you guys, and that is sea otters like to hold things with their paws. And it's very important, and they use that for special purposes. And let me share that with you here. Okay. So one thing that they like to use their paws for is to hold hands while they are sleeping. So they will get together in a group and they will hold hands, which is like pretty much the most adorable thing you've ever seen, so that they don't float away and lose track of each other while they're sleeping, usually above the kelp forest. And so they'll hold on to each other to stay close and have that safety in numbers. They also use their paws to hold on to food. So you can see up in the right-hand corner, he's holding that mussel there and chewing on it so he can hold on to prey. And at the bottom, you can see that they hold on to their pups. So baby pups, they need a lot of care in their first year. They can't hunt for themselves. Mom's got to do all the hunting. And so when she's not hunting, she will hold the baby on her chest like that, so the baby is warm and safe out of the water. And when she does go hunting, she'll wrap the baby in the strands of kelp to keep him from floating away, so that he's there when she comes back up to the surface after hunting. So holding things is one of those really important things that they do. And here you can see them all holding hands together in a group. And what do you guys think a group of otters is called? This is my last little trivia question. A group of otters. Well, a group of otters is called a raft, because when they hold hands, they form almost like a raft on top of the water when they're all holding hands together. So just a cool little fun fact there. All right, Parker, I will pass it back to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jen. So that was super cool there to hear all about the otters. And what do you think though is their greatest superpower? I know I asked our friends Christina and Danica this question, but what do you all say? What do you think their greatest superpower is?
I think their fur probably, because without that
Yes.
thick fur, they wouldn't be able to survive the cold in the ocean. So that thick fur is really everything.
Yes, that definitely makes sense. And so, like their metabolism to eat so much food and be so small is crazy too. And I think like their ability to cleanse that seagrass that you were talking about and how they are just ecosystem engineers and really support our ecosystem is just so important to us. And so, very
Definitely.
cool there. And so I think though, right, it's an important reminder to remind all of our friends who are joining us to respect wildlife, because wildlife is such an important creatures to us, and we are visitors to their habitats, as Danica mentioned earlier. So I always like to tell people about the rule of thumb and give a thumbs up to wildlife. So can you all give me a thumbs up? All right, nice, a thumbs up. And what that means is I want you to see if when you are exploring today at your school, at your house, wherever you are, I want you to cover up your thumb with like an animal. And if you can cover up that animal with your thumb, that means you are standing far enough away from that wildlife. So we like to give a thumbs up to nature, and that gives us about like a 50 feet or so away from wildlife. That's what we like to say. But if I can cover it up right there, that is just the right amount of distance. So So that's something easy and simple that all of us can do to respect our wildlife and those creatures that we love so much. So, well, Jen, I think we lost our friends at Carpinteria, but I do have a poll that I wanted to share with everyone about our day today so we can see who
Okay.
has the greatest superpower. Are you ready for this poll, everyone?
All right, let's vote.
All
You
right,
guys
I'm
ready
gonna
to
go ahead
vote?
and launch this poll here about
Oh,
who has the greatest superpower and who is the cutest animal. So I have our poll launched here, and I want you all to go ahead and see what you all say. Who has the greatest
All right.
superpower, harbor seal, sea otter, and who is the cutest animal, the harbor seal or the otter? I don't know. I'll give you maybe another like 30 seconds to fill this out here, this awesome poll. I see
I
our
don't think
friends
they
at
let us vote.
Carpentry are back, which is awesome. And so
Come on,
we're
sea
gonna,
otters.
yeah, come on, sea otters or harbor seal. I don't know who's gonna win this battle.
Harbor
And
Oh,
seals, harbor seals, harbor
oh,
seals.
what?
what? All right,
Aren't
so
I
I
we got
forgot
like
my
another
adorable?
cute puppet today.
5, 4, 3, 2, and
Oh,
1. I'm gonna end our poll
that's
here,
a
and I'm
cute
gonna go
puppet.
ahead and share our results with you all. And so it looks like the greatest superpower is the harbor seal.
All
Ooh,
right.
nice.
Woo!
71% of the votes there. Our otter friends had 29% of the vote. Sorry, otters. It looks like the harbor seals took that. But
Oh, wah
the
wah.
cutest animal, though, is the otter,
Woo!
right? Aren't they utterly
look at me.
adorable,
Come
right?
Look
on,
at me.
otters
So
holding hands. There is
71% to
nothing cuter.
29%. It was like flip-flop, which is super funny. I love that. So, pretty cool there. But nice work, everyone, with that there. So now we know who has the greatest superpower and who is the cutest. So, well, with that, everyone, I know we went a little bit over today. I think I did see one question that did come into the chat here, or the Q&A, and that was for our friends about harbor seals. And they would like to know, since our harbor seal friends are, since they go on land and water, does that mean that they are amphibious?
So no, they are not amphibious because they're not amphibians. If you're asking if they're amphibians, they're not amphibians. They're mammals like you and me. They have hair. They give live birth. The babies drink their mother's milk. Yeah, so they are. We can say that they are. If you're asking if they're like an amphibious plane that goes on land and water, then I guess you can say they're amphibious in that way. But if they're amphibians, no, they're mammals.
Awesome. Awesome. I didn't see any other questions come in today, but um, we all hope that you had a great time today with our battle between the otters and the harbor seals. And it looks like the greatest superpower is our good friend, the harbor seal. So, with that, thank you all so much. And we hope that this gave you the seal of approval and you have an utterly amazing day. So, with that, goodbye, everyone, and we'll see you next
Bye,
time.
everybody.